So, Jamie, what's different to this situation than the Chelsea situation when they replaced Andre Villas-Boas with Roberto Di Matteo, who won the Cup, he won the Champions League, and then was sacked before November was out?
Nothing in that next season will decide that. That's what what Di Matteo did, won the Champions League, won the FA Cup also. I mean, that's what, obviously, the two trophies Manchester United is still involved in. But, you know, when I say next season will be the real test, it feels like I'm sort of, in some ways, critical of what Solskjaer is doing now. What he's done here is unbelievable, really, watching it. I think Graeme mentioned at the top of the show. But in terms of Manchester United being back, of challenging for the title and the Champions League sort of for the next 2 or 3 years, because if it was to be another manager, which it won't be, it would be a 3-year deal, if you like, and you judge him at the end of that, as we did with possibly Jose Mourinho over the 2 or 3 years. So that's when Solskjaer will be judged. But you can only judge him what he's done right now. And what he's done is, as I said, out of the field. And what he's done is, people say they're a lot more attacking now, and it's the Manchester United way on the front foot, as opposed to sort of what Mourinho was doing at the start of the season. But they're looking so strong defensively as well. That's the thing. When I'm watching Manchester United, we were saying when Mourinho was there at the start of the season, it wasn't the United way on the front foot, but they were still conceding lots of goals and lots of chances. Besides the Spurs game away, where De Gea was out of this world, every time I watched them, even in Paris midweek, I didn't feel like there was lots of goals sort of going in against them. They look really organised there defensively. So that's the biggest thing. It's not just playing the attacking way and letting these players play. How better they look defensively is a massive thing
There's
as well.
a big difference, by the way. Manchester United won't sack the manager after 3 or 4 months in a season like Chelsea would. They won't do that.
They did do it with Moyes.
No, they sacked him after 8 months. That's a particularly peculiar situation for Manchester United to do that. They won't do that with Ole Gunnar Solskjaer next season in November, which is what you said. You know, Chelsea have got a model that's completely different. What I would say, I agree with the point you're saying, it's not a time now to get carried away. Ole's doing an incredible job, but he needs to set the basic foundation and the ground rules with the guy he's speaking to for his job now. He needs 200 million, 250 million quid. He needs people around him in the recruitment department, sporting directors department. All those things we were saying 2 or 3 months ago still stand at the football club. If he doesn't get the right players in this summer, I mean, Jamie Redknapp's point before is a good one, that he's getting the best out of players. He's saved them a lot of money. Because I think you're right, he would have probably had to have changed more than what he will think he have to do now. But they still need 3 defenders in the club. They still need a midfield player. They still need a striker. If they get the 5 players, that's going to cost 200, 250 million quid for the quality that Manchester United need. Because Manchester United's target is to catch Manchester City and Liverpool, not to sit there in 4th place with, say, for instance, Arsenal at the moment or Tottenham. So my view is there's still a lot of work to do, and he's now got to be tough, because the only way you're going to be tough at getting a job is on the way in. Once you're in there, they've got you. Be tough on your contract, be tough on the terms of the contract, and be tough on who you need around you, and be tough on the money they're going to give you. I'm sure the club have always been supportive in the last few years. I'm not saying that they're not going to be, but he needs to know what he's going to get to be successful, because you're right, next season, in November, he'll need the best players that he can possibly get to compete with the clubs that he needs to chase.
Do you still think it's Manchester United, not just because they're on a good run of form, and you're talking about 5 players, 250, 300 million pounds. Do you think they're that far away from the other side?
Yeah. They need a right back, they need 2 centre-halves.
Well, they bought a young right back, didn't they?
Yeah, but I think they need a right back, they need a 2 centre-halves. They've had a problem with right back now for
2 centre-backs to go straight in the team?
They need 2 centre-backs, there's no doubt about that. The 2 centre-backs at the moment are doing brilliantly well. Chris Smalling's doing really well, Lindelof's doing really well. But they need, you look at the City centre-backs, Otamendi, Laporte, Stones, Company, they're nowhere near those. They're nowhere near the Liverpool centre-back with Van Dijk. Van Dijk's like 3-1, unfortunately.
Listen, I said a while ago when Mourinho was in charge, I felt if Guardiola had Mourinho's squad, he'd win. I don't think there's don't get me wrong, 2 or 3 top players, don't get me wrong, but I've never felt Manchester United's squad is miles away from anyone else.
Do you think the bigger challenges for Solskjaer are still ahead, Graeme?
Well, I think in terms of support, in terms of, I think at most jobs when you set the ground rules before you sign the contract. But I think for Man United, with it being such a unique football club, buying players ain't going to be a problem. I think Edward feels the pressure every bit as much as a manager and previous managers. So he'll be very supportive, as he has been already. I wouldn't lay any blame at his door, supplying the money to successive managers, giving them what they want. You can't ask for any more than that as a manager. I would have said prior to him going there, they needed the kind of changes you're talking about. I think since he's been there, I don't think it's that major anymore. I think go back to the form since he's been there. That's Championship winning form. They'd be sitting top of the table if that had
don't
been their
think-
form.
Graeme, I don't think they're as good.
I think they need midfield players.
Graeme, I don't think they're as good as the form is at the moment.
No, they're not.
And I don't think they're as bad as Jose's form either. I think the answer lies somewhere in
We
between.
will revisit this later. We will have a little bit more time to get into this later, and depending on, of course, what we see here and the differences between United, Arsenal and Chelsea as that fight for the top 4 places rumbles on.